Hi Siri, I'm looking for a new podcast, one that preferably is hosted by a UF Hall of Famer, one that airs every weekday that would bring me everything I need to know about the Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions. Siri, is there such a show?
Have you heard of PodUp with Matthews in the morning on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or any podcast platform?
Oh my gosh, why didn't I think of that? UF Hall of Famer Shane Matthews has a show every weekday. I'm gonna go check it out tomorrow. Thanks, Siri.
Good morning. It is a live edition, a Wednesday edition of PodUp with Matthews in the morning, coming to you live from the International Diamond Center Studios, locations across the state of Florida and right there in Celebration Point in the heart of Gator Nation. Go check them out. International Diamond Center Studios. Don't forget, cold front's coming through. Might need to call Comfort Temp Heating and Air, your number one local HVAC company, offering $1,000 off new installation units and 10% off any additional services through August. Only got a few more days. Visit us at comforttemp.com. We're going to have a good show today. We'll have JC live from New York. He's probably down in Times Square waiting for the ball to drop. And then we'll have Steve Palazzolo talking a little NFL. Cut day was yesterday. JC?
Yeah, here I am. Yeah, I'm right on West 44th Street in between 6th Avenue and 5th Avenue. And in New York City, it's just beautiful up here. 79 degrees yesterday, got down to about 65 last night. Drank some of the best IPAs you'll ever have. The water up here is so crystal clear. You literally just fill up a water bottle with your bathroom sink tap. You don't have to go buy water bottles. It's so clear. It's so clean. It's from Niagara. It's from the upstate, and it is tremendous. So, everybody up here is in very good mood. I don't know what all the fuss is about up here. Actually, I do. But it seems like everybody's in good spirits up here. There's so many damn people, QB. I've never seen so many people on a random
That's why
Tuesday
I don't go there.
just walking back and forth, up and down, up and down. It is incredible how many people are here. But we're up here for the U.S.
JC, let me ask you this.
Going to go there today.
Would you prefer to hang out in New York City, where you are, for a week or two, or would you rather be in like Wyoming or Montana for 2 weeks?
Probably definitely New York City.
Yeah. Not me.
Yeah.
Stick my ass out in Wyoming,
I need
in the middle of nowhere.
I need stimulation. I can only look at the mountains and the goats and the mountain lions for so long. I mean, listen, I wouldn't turn down a trip to Wyoming or Montana, but after about 3 days of looking at the same thing, I'd have to go. I need stimulation. This place is that. There's just so much happening. But if it makes you nervous, if you get apprehensive, if you're a little anxious about having so many people around you, this is not for you. But, they do make things very simple with public transportation. I'm going to take a 7 train from Grand Central Station, go straight to the U.S. Open Tennis Center. When I get off the train, I'm going to go right to the U.S. Open Tennis Center, or I can go left to Citibank Field, and the Phillies and the Mets are playing. If I want to take the 4 train express up to Bronx, I can go watch the Yankees beat up on Washington. So there's always something happening. I saw a street show last night. These guys were breakdancing on the sidewalk. I couldn't believe what I was watching. I mean, it wasn't trick photography. These guys were actually spinning on the sidewalk, real fast on their backs. It's just impressive. So I had a flight up, and there are plenty of direct flights from Jacksonville to either LaGuardia, JFK, or even Newark. And by the way, Newark Liberty International Airport was beautiful. It was well kept. It was clean. They had no problems getting in and out on United Airlines nonstop. And while I was up there reading, I was getting ready thinking, okay, we're 3 days away from kickoff. Football is around the corner. It's time for SEC. It's time for television. It's time for the Gators to run out on the field. They're going to play an FCS opponent. So just keep that in mind, folks. Don't get a false sense of, we're going to win the national title after they score 50 or 60 on this team. But they're going to have their way with LIU. And as I was thinking about the football, where I really think Florida's going to shine this year, QB, if they stay healthy? I really think it's all going to start where it always does. And that's on the front offensive line. The offensive line this year, I just thought to myself, man, these guys are really loaded. And if they stay healthy, they could be potentially one of the top 3 offensive lines in this league. Forget about or in the country even. Forget about just the league. I think When you look at a guy like Barber, 21 starts, 37 games, Austin Barber at left tackle spot. You got Slaughter, who's going to be a first-round pick. He was an All-American. You got Harris, who had 13 starts. You got Damian George, who moved from tackle to guard. You got Bryce Love, who was SEC Freshman of the Year. Listen, I think these guys up front are going to set the tone for this football team. That's going to give them a runway as the schedule gets harder as we go. Because as you know, QB, you open the year, the last 3 years with a very good team. Utah twice and Miami last year with an All-American quarterback. This year, we're going to get off to an easier start, and I think that's going to help. But the offensive line, to me, is where Florida is really going to be good. They look like a really, really top 10 or top 5 offensive line to me. That's what I noticed when I was reading yesterday.
I saw this on Twitter, took a screenshot. It's from 24/7 Sports. It's the 2025 Team Talent Composite, meaning I don't really know what that means. But do you know who that number one Team Talent Composite squad is for 2025, JC?
In what league?
In the nation.
Well, I mean, Texas maybe?
It would be the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Oh, my.
So here's your top 10. Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, Texas, Oregon, LSU, Clemson, A&M, Penn State, Michigan.
Wow. Well, I do believe every one of those teams is going to challenge for a playoff spot, and I do believe that with Florida playing, I think 3 or 4 of those teams you mentioned, it's a real opportunity this year for the Gators to open some eyes and be a dark horse if they stay healthy. And that's the thing. That's the big if.
Here's the thing that just.
I know you say this all the time, but man, some teams are luckier than others. And
I agree, but
yeah,
everybody can say this. If you're in the Southeastern Conference, if your team stays healthy, you have a chance to win it. Pretty much, I would say there's probably
some teams do.
I bet there's 9 teams.
9.
Would you say 9?
I'd say there's probably fewer than 9, but yeah.
Okay, so let's just say if your team stays healthy and some other teams get injuries,
I
think Texas, Georgia, Alabama, LSU. I think those 4 teams everybody thinks are the 4 best teams in the league right now.
Okay.
Then you have Florida, then you have South Carolina, you have Tennessee, Ole Miss, and Oklahoma. That's 9.
Okay.
With Missouri's schedule, you might as well throw them in the book. That's 10.
It is easy. Yeah, it's easy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we just left out Auburn, Mississippi State, Vanderbilt,
and Kentucky.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good point. I do think though that the imbalance of some of the scheduling, whether you're healthy or not, will have a lot to do with it. But it could also work in your favor having these tough schedules. And Oklahoma's got everybody's pretty much, except like you said, Missouri.
Yeah, Oklahoma supposedly has the hardest schedule in America, then Florida's number 2 from most of the publications.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right, real quick text on the Titan MR text line from Frank in Chicago. Says, QB, I'm sad Montreal Johnson and Kyle Trask got cut. What is the process after you get cut? Do you reach out to a bunch of teams or do you sit back and hope they reach out to you? It's a combination of both. That their agent will do all of that. We'll talk to Steve Palazzolo because he is deep into the NFL. That's all he does.
Who is he with, Steve?
He used to be with Pro Football Focus, broke off on his
own.
I
thought he was
his own
with
show and all that stuff.
PFF. Okay.
All
right.
I predicted Kyle Trask to go to the Panthers because of his relationship with their head coach that was there like 2 years ago in Tampa, but I forgot Andy Dalton's their backup.
Yeah.
They're not getting rid of Andy Dalton.
No, they're not. And, another good backup out there would be Kirk Cousins. They're not getting
if I were the Jaguars, I would sign Kyle Trask to back up, although Mac Jones is the backup to Trevor Lawrence. So we'll see. But it's a tough business, man. I'm telling you. I think there was only like 30 Gators, I think, that made rosters.
Yeah. I mean, it's the cut day is tough in the NFL, man. What is it, 53 players now? So
yeah, but then there's like 20 on the practice squad now.
What did Pete Prisco have to say to you the other day? He said something that, gosh darn it, I can't remember, but I was watching it.
Mac Jones is gone, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think that's right about Mac. He's with another team. So
I thought he was with the
he was last year, but I think the new coaching staff came in and I think he moved on. He didn't have a long-term, he just had a short-term rental contract, but he is with somebody. these are things that I just can't bring to the top of my head with all this other stuff that's going through it right now.
Andy wants to know on Facebook Live, how does Hendon Hooker get cut and Joe Milton has a job?
Hey,
NFL, man, I'm telling these coaches, they love these guys that are big and can throw
I,
it through a wall, but they don't know who to throw it to.
I think Joe Milton has done a lot this preseason. They're very happy
He
with him.
does stuff every preseason, JC, because nobody blitzes and dudes are usually running wide open.
That is true. Nobody. Yeah, that's it. You're right. Yeah. Well, listen, the thing is they're off this weekend. They'll be playing next weekend. This is Labor Day. Can you believe we're already at Labor Day weekend, QB? The first Monday of September every year is Labor Day. And it's just shocking to me that we're already at Labor Day, man. I'm telling you, we're going to sit here a month from now. We're going to be wondering, my God, we're in week 5. I say it over and over again. Yep. It's unbelievable. But, embrace it, Gator fans. You're going to show up on Saturday. You say it's going to rain. I didn't see the weather, but I think at 7 o'clock, hopefully things will be cleared up, and just get out there and scream and root for the Gators and hope that they walk out of there healthy and then they get ready for a much better game against South Florida.
Speaking of that, let's go ahead and get to some Peachland Dental picks because there are games tomorrow, JC, and I'm sure you want all the listeners around the world this program want to know what you're taking. I'm going to tell you right now, I think South Florida beats Boise.
I do too. I was going to agree with you on that because I love the athletes on that team. I mean, listen, they're not going to win the Fiesta Bowl this year or anything like that, but they are tough. And for some reason, a 6.5-point spread with a home team, I'm definitely going to go that route. And then you can look on the money line and just take them outright to win. But I agree with you. I want South Florida. Give me the 6.5 points for sure. And we've got football. It's tomorrow, 28th. So you've got Missouri out of the SEC playing a game with Central Arkansas. No line there. Rutgers is playing Ohio. They're laying 15.5. I mean, they should win that game against the MAC team. Then you've got UCF playing Jack State. Is Jack State an FBS or FCS team, QB? I don't even remember.
No, they're
FBS
now.
They're FBS. Yeah. So UCF is laying 3 touchdowns. I would be inclined to just
Jacksonville State made a really good run the last couple of years. Rich Rod was there. He left.
They're not shoddy. They're not shoddy at all. Don't know how many players they kept. There is a good game in North Carolina between ECU and NC State. I would be inclined to take the under there. I think the unders are the way to look at these games early in the season because offenses I think defenses are slightly ahead of offenses at this point early in the schedule. So I tend to look at some unders. I do love some games we'll talk about on Friday because we'll go through the schedule. But on Friday, we've got Auburn and Baylor. And then on Thursday, we've got USF and Boise State. Those are going to be the 2 headline games. And this game for Auburn, it's hard to overstate how important a first game of the season is. But I'm overstating it. This is a must for Auburn. They need to win this game badly. And just to get that Auburn presence again back into the nation-wide landscape. Baylor is going to be tough. They're fast. They're at home. But I think Auburn's roster is better, and we'll see if they can pull it off with Jack. It depends on what kind of Jackson Arnold we're going to get, right? So these games are really good. There's some really, really great games this weekend to start the season.
Gallo Car Wash is locally owned by UF alum and the only car wash that provides NIL opportunities to Gator athletes. Locations on Northwest 13th Street, Wilson Road, and coming soon to Jonesville. On YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. Jacob says, will Texas be the biggest game in the swamp in the past decade? I think Texas will be the biggest game. Like when you say the biggest game, you don't know how the game's going to be until the game is over, right? I think it's the most anticipated game in the history of the program.
That's a better way to phrase it.
The reason is because they have never been here, and there are going to be a lot of cowboy hats and boots roaming around the swamp.
Well, it is. QB, it's just rare. You've never seen the horns helmet roll through there. Everybody's going to shout Gator bait, I hope. And really, by then, we're going to see what Arch Manning is all about. Well, we'll find out a lot before that game. He is the Heisman Trophy, leader right now on the board. If he lights up Ohio State, his odds are going to crash. If he struggles against Ohio State, there's going to be a lot of discussion about it. But I would say, like you said, the most anticipated game because of the fact they've never been. And I love that. I think that's great. I think it's awesome. Listen, there's always
Pizza Bill says on Facebook Live, Texas was here in 1940. I didn't think they've ever been here.
No, I'd never thought that either, but I would not argue with Pizza Bill. This guy is an encyclopedia, and I would not argue with Pizza Bill. But I will say this. I think it's going to be such a great home schedule for the Gators fans to watch. I mean, the November game with Tennessee is going to be amazing if the Gators are in any type of contention for anything. And then, of course, the Texas game. It's just going to be a really fun schedule. FSU's coming to town. I love that. What are you cracking up about now?
Tony on YouTube brought you.
Tony, here he goes.
Tony wants to know, JC, how is Olive Garden in New York City?
I went to Carmine's last night, and I ate a family portion of Italian sausage, rigatoni, and this amazing sauce. There was about 6 sausages in there. We had a meatball on the side. The place was packed. And again, we're talking about a random Tuesday night at Carmine's, okay? And it wasn't as expensive as you would think. Everything here costs so much money, so much money. So, there are some tips that I have, but I won't waste our time with that right now. I just think that New York, you just got to kind of know how to handle it. And if you cannot get overwhelmed by it, you'll really enjoy it. And there are some unbelievable restaurants and bars here, man. Best in the world. It's really amazing how good the food is.
MSRK on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, has a good question. I don't know the answer. I'm going to guess. Who's the highest paid QB in the SEC?
Highest paid QB in the SEC. I
would have to say it's Arch.
I would say that's probably true. Yeah, I'd have to think for a minute. I don't know what they're giving the kid at Nussmeier, or I don't think.
I mean, I don't think it's possible to even figure out. Quite honestly,
it really isn't. No, but that's the highest paid position. It's got to be. It's either got to be Arch or I don't know. Is Lenore Sellers getting money?
So supposedly he was offered a ton from some other school.
He turned it down.
Who knows? But JC, I was looking at the weather. It says 70% chance of rain.
That's bad.
But I just looked at it. It is 68 degrees outside right now.
In Gainesville?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, that's what we want.
It's fall here, JC.
Oh, man, it's so beautiful. Right outside.
It'll be 100 degrees next week.
Right outside my window, it's 59. And I'm going to U.S. Open today. It'll be in the 70s. I can't wait. Oh, by the way, I know you want my picks today for the U.S. Open. I got 2 of them. You want to take – you're going to have to write this down, folks, because I'm pretty good at this. I hit the first set with Coco Gauff last night and Naomi Osaka, first set parlay. Today it's Emma Raducanu and Emma Navarro. You get plus odds with a parlay, Navarro and Raducanu, and then take Brandon Nakashima, who's on the men's side, over 37.5 games. This guy stretches out to 4 and 5 sets. It seems every time he plays, it doesn't matter who he's playing. Brandon Nakashima over 37.5 games. There you have it. That's tennis.
Okay,
it's going to be unbelievable.
I'm a complete dumbass because Texas, and you are too, JC.
I
think multiple people have been saying this, but Texas did come here in 1940.
Why does that make us dumbasses? Who the hell? In 1940, we got attacked by the Germans at Pearl Harbor.
Okay. Well, we got shut out 26-0. So we've never scored against Texas at home. Let's put it that.
Yeah. Okay. So Army won the national title too. I mean, really, who cares? Okay, but thank you for the historical references. To me, they still have never been here. All right, but you can say that if you want. I don't even know what Florida Field looked like back then. Did we have a grandstand? Did we have cement seats?
I have no idea.
Do we have? Yeah. So it's not. It doesn't. That's to me. Okay, you can say that. That's great. I don't know. Okay, but to me, Texas has never been here. In my lifetime of 60 very quick years, those guys haven't run through the gates. Okay, and
here's a text from Joe.
Gator Bay.
Here's a text from Joe in Newberry. He says, "Good for Cracker Barrel bringing back the logo." Agree.
It's such an uproar. Why these corporations change their brand, I have no idea. It's just senseless. They're doing fine with who they are. That's what they are.
Here's another text from Rick in Jupiter on the Titan Mar text line.
Danny G.
He goes, "What are your thoughts on the Barstool guy getting banned from Ohio State? Also, did you see Jaden Rashada got beat out for the QB spot in Sacramento State? Did not see the. I don't know anything about Barstool. I don't follow. I'm one of the few people that
I don't
watch
follow
Barstool. I don't understand it.
They're a bunch of goofballs. No, I don't watch it either. But they're. I mean, they've done very well. And Dave Portnoy, God bless him, just a great American entrepreneur, a tremendous success story, selling pick sheets in the Boston subways and becoming a multi-millionaire now today with Barstool running that. And good for him, but it's just not something I really subscribe to much. Danny G wants me to go to McSorley's Irish Pub. I know exactly where that is on the Lower Village. Danny G, great call there. I have been. I'm on 44th Street, so that's a pretty good haul down there. But you never know, bro. I may just get a hair and just head back down that way. The Barstool is popular with the young. I think it's a younger crowd type of thing. They do some off-the-wall type of stuff. I don't know if they're really good at prognosticating or analyzing football or any sports for that matter. They're more into the entertainment side of it, but there's a fit for everyone, and it does fit for some. It's just not me, but I do admire what Dave Portnoy has done with Barstool Sports. It's an amazing story. He literally took pick sheets, and he would write down his picks and he would just hand them out in the subways of Boston. Eventually, he turned that into a business. People bought into it. The Patriots were winning during the time. The Red Sox won the World Series a couple times. So the Boston sports scene was tremendous. The Bruins won the Stanley Cup in 2011. So anyway, it's a great story. It's a great American story, but I'm not really big on
it. Gator Art on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plum, says, "I've never ever eaten at Cracker Barrel. Does it sound appealing?" It's good country cooking.
You love it, QB.
I haven't been there in years because my kids used to love to go eat there for breakfast when they were young. I haven't been there in a while. I will tell you this. When I was living in like Chicago, like during football season, I ate at Cracker Barrel all the damn time.
Yeah, it gave you that southern flair that you missed in Illinois, in the big city, Windy City. Yeah,
well, I live pretty much almost in Wisconsin because that's where we practiced.
Yeah, so. You were north. Yeah, you were way up north. Yes, Kevin, you're right. Pearl Harbor was 41. I know that, but the point was it was so far back. It was so far back. But thank you for that. And look, woke is dead on this show. Jacob Rosenberg, he's absolutely right. Woke is dead. The quarterback at Oklahoma, this is what Mark's talking about, is John Mateer. He's got his coach with him, and like QB says, watch out for that offense. And let me tell you, if the Sooners get ahead of you, you're going to be trying to score on Brent Venables, who is as good a defensive play caller as there is in the business. So it's going to be a team that, if you want to talk about dark horses, you will get tremendous odds on Oklahoma. And if that quarterback does what we think he can do, and then you get Venables with a lead, they're going to be a tough team to beat. No question about it. They got athletes, dude. They got athletes running around all over the place from Texas playing on that roster. That's a great call, QB, on Oklahoma. I thoroughly endorse that.
I mean, their schedule, I think, is harder than ours.
It is, but look.
But their defense is so good. And this Mateer guy is going to surprise some people.
And he's got his coach with him. I mean, that's just the biggest thing, too, isn't it? Yeah.
This Day in Sports brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Put some star power to work in your financial life at Campus USA Credit Union. We're a proud member, Stephen or Spurrier Banks. 2023 Tour Championship men's golf at Eastlake. Do you know who won it in 2023, JC?
2023. I should know this. I should know this because I've been watching this thing.
Just tell me, right? Pete, Victor Hovland.
There he is. Okay. Yeah.
Secures a 5-stroke win over Xander Schauffele for the biggest victory.
QB, I applaud and I'm glad that Tommy Fleetwood won it, but I think Scotty Scheffler had the best year and he should be the Tour champion.
Well, I agree with that, and he will win the Player of the Year award and all that.
No doubt, 100%.
I salute the PGA Tour for changing the format.
Yes.
I mean, could you imagine Scotty Scheffler starting with like a 7-stroke lead?
It's a non-event. It's a non-event at that point. It's a non-event. It's a non-event. But you're right. They did a good job with that. Fleetwood, God bless him. 30 top 5 finishes and finally breaks through to win it. But to me, Scheffler is the champion golfer of the year, of course. So he's the guy, and I think that golf was really good this year. QB, we had so many first-time winners, and Cameron Young really turned it on to try to rush that Ryder Cup team. We're going to have to start talking about that in September.
I want to say he picks the Ryder Cup today.
Oh my goodness! Oh wow! Okay, now how many players qualify and how many captains picks are there? Do you know that off the top of your head?
I don't, and I should, but I'm gonna say I think 6 automatically qualify.
6.
And then I think there's 6 picks. But
so if he's got
Tony
6
or
picks,
somebody else that follows the Ryder Cup should know.
Well, listen, the great news, and I'll repeat this again, broken record, but I'll just say it. The Ryder Cup is when the Gators are off. So it'll be a great chance for us to really hone in on that. It's right around the corner down here in Bethpage Black on Long Island. And that's not hard to get to from Penn Station on the Long Island Railroad, baby. But that's hell, I may even come back up here.
Gator
for that.
Art says at 11 a.m. today, the Ryder Cup team is
okay. Thank you, Gator Art. Thank you for that update. I think Keegan Bradley, if he picks himself to play, it's going to be tough to coach and play at the same time in my mind. But I'm not in that world right now, so maybe it won't be. But do you think Keegan's going to pick himself? He's played great golf in the last 2 months.
I guess I should say is I try to say, okay, if I'm selected as the captain, which that's an enormous honor. I think that's more of an honor than it is actually playing.
Maybe, yeah.
Now, if he can say, look, can I be the captain? And is it every 2 or 4 years now?
It's every 2.
Can I be the captain next? And can I give up being the captain and be the captain in 2 years and let me play this year?
Well,
if they would allow that, I would do that.
Well, the thing with Keegan, though, is that he's going to be in this environment where he's from the Northeast.
Well, that's a good point, too.
And the tournament's in Bethpage Black, and the crowd is going to be bananas. And you know how he gets roused up and he gets everybody fired up. This is a perfect setting for them. And they're going to need that because when they were in Italy 2 years ago, they got their balls kicked in. I mean, they just got blown out. And part of the reason why the Europeans are so good is because they genuinely, I think, really care for each other. You saw Justin Rose and Shane Lowry and these guys really celebrating Tommy Fleetwood walking off that 18th hole. I mean, they really got excited for him. They genuinely cared about watching him win it, the Tour Championship. I think that's one of the strengths of the British team, or the European team, excuse me, is that they genuinely really do like each other. Patrick Cantlay, I can't tell what he likes. I know he flies Delta, but I don't know who the hell that guy is. I don't know what he likes, what he does. He's pissed off about not getting paid to wear a hat. That's not the guy I want on the team. I want dudes who are team guys. Golf is great because it engenders, it genders encountering, and it provides a fraternity. I just love golf, and anybody who says it's not a sport, by the way, is crazy.
Yeah,
it's damn sure a sport.
All right, JC, real quick before we get you out of here, Zach on YouTube brought to you by Quality Plum says, when is the game predictions, today or tomorrow? Well, you already predicted you're taking Florida for tomorrow's game.
Absolutely.
Are you taking any other games for tomorrow?
No, those games are really somewhat.
Well, you said take the under in the East Carolina game.
I do think the under in that. I think the point spread.
Well,
we'll go with those. Well, I don't know about locks. Right now, I'm not sure there is such a thing as a lock. But listen, 61 points in the East Carolina NC State game. I see something like a 33-29 game, something, or a 33-21 game, something like that, in the high 50s maybe, or mid 50s, if that. So I would take under in that game, and I really like USF at home. Boise coming 3 time zones and 7 hours on a plane. Forget it. They're going to be very good in the Mountain West, but this game's going to be in the humidity of Tampa. And then we'll get on Friday for sure, bro. I've got some great games for Friday. I've already been looking at them. I really have some games I love on Saturday, and we'll talk about that on Friday. And by the way, as I started off this segment with you, the offensive line for the Gators is going to carry this team a long way if they stay on the field. They're really good. They're really good.
All right, JC,
All right,
We
man.
appreciate your time. Be careful on the subway. Keep your head on a swivel.
Okay, you bet. We'll see you Friday.
This JC joins us on the Titan MR hotline courtesy of Comfort Tent. We'll take a quick time out. We'll come back. We're going to talk a little NFL with Steve Palazzolo, talk about some of the Gators that have gotten cut, where he thinks they may end up. If you have any questions, shoot them to us. You're watching and listening to PodUp with Matthews in the Morning from the International Diamond Center Studios. We'll be right back.
Our premium sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union,
International Diamond Center,
Meldon Law, QC Kinetics, UF Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute, JF Hayden Craft Liqueurs, Florida Cracker Kitchen, Los Linderos Tequila. Gridiron sponsors are Baker Sporting Goods, Comfort Temp, Electronics World, Florida Victorious, Gallo Car Wash, Miapa Latin Cafe, Peachland Dental, Quality Plumbing, Ruse Ogre State Farm, Silverback Concrete, 84 Lumber, Big Mills Cheesesteak, Celebrate Primary Care, Dowling Sign, Gator Bait Media, Gator Dominoes, Ironwood Golf Course, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, UF Bookstores, Nest and Wow, MG&A Wealth Management. Watch and listen to us live on Facebook and YouTube. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple or Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. To become a sponsor, call my man Freddie at 352-284-3733.
Naysayers, setbacks, injuries. Life throws a lot of hurdles your way. The key is just keep jumping them.
Coach, it always impressed me how you beat Florida State to win the 1996 National Championship.
And I was really impressed with your 06, 08, and 09 Gator teams.
And the way you coached Danny to the Heisman Trophy.
A lot like what you did with Tim Tebow.
You know, you won more SEC championships than you lost home games at the Swamp.
And you had plenty of super games in front of our Gator Nation.
Yeah, there really is something special about the Swamp.
I guess that's why we say about the Swamp, only the Gators get out alive.
To the Swamp and the Gators, with the best beverage served at Spur's Gridiron Grill, 100% agave, Los Linderos tequila, aged in bourbon barrels for a smoother taste.
I think you mean Head Beer Coach 1966 lager, a crisp, light, bodied lager for easy drinking.
Nope. Los Linderos tequila, smooth enough to drink neat and bold enough to elevate a cocktail.
1966 lager, enjoyed on game days in the fall or whenever you need a winning cold brew.
Los Linderos tequila.
1966 lager.
Los Linderos.
1966 lager.
Y'all stop bickering.
Okay, you're both wrong anyway. The best thing Spurrier's Gridiron Grill offers are Jerry's famous chocolate chip cookies.
Welcome back to the International Diamond Center Studios. Miapa Latin Cafe, proud to support Gator Nation for 22 years. New location opening in Alachua, new building, same great food, served with a smile. Check out one of our 5 locations today. That's Miapa Latin Cafe. Back to the Titan MR hotline, courtesy of Comfort Tent. We're joined by Steve Palazzolo from Check the Mic. He covers the NFL and does a very good job of it. Good morning, Steve. How you doing, buddy?
Doing great. Thanks for having me back.
Absolutely. Let's jump right into it. Cut day was yesterday. Let's start with some Gators. Were you surprised Kyle Trask was released?
Well, not after they signed Teddy Bridgewater. After for whatever reason, they decided that a slightly more, well, definitely a more known commodity in Teddy Bridgewater, the Bucs signing him as the backup for Baker Mayfield. And I think once that happened, you kind of had a feeling that, hey, Kyle Trask might not be a Buck for very long. I thought he had a really nice first preseason game, was a little up and down after that, but I do think Trask has a chance as a backup or third string somewhere else. There's certainly some teams where I think he's a reasonable backup option. So we'll see if anything comes of that. But I think after the Bucs signed Teddy Bridgewater, I think they wanted to go the more veteran route there.
You know, there was a report that came out, and I don't know how it all works in today's NFL, but they said that Trask had kind of a shoulder issue that they were going to have a settlement with him and then release him. Can you tell us how that all works?
Yeah, I think essentially you get this injury settlement. I played baseball, so when you got if you got injured while you're on the 40-man roster, you would during spring training, you would just get 100% of that year's salary. With the NFL, it's more of a settlement, so it's not a full year salary, but it's like, hey, you're essentially going to be out for the season, but you're going to get some kind of payday, so you can't really go to another team, but you at least have this year covered. So if that's the route that they're going, then yeah, it'll be a year off for Trask, but at least some money in his pocket.
And how many guys are on practice squads now? Because when I played, there was only like 6 or 7 guys, and the rules were you had to be either a rookie or a first year guy. If you had any more years than that, you could never go on the practice squad. Now, I think you can put a 15-year vet on the practice squad if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I forget the exact number right now, but it's closer to 15. And you just have, yeah, like you're saying, way more flexibility. Anybody essentially could be on the practice squad. And you get a lot more of that bottom of the roster type of movement. So teams can, it's almost like a redshirt equivalent for certain players, right? They might have a 7th-round pick or an undrafted free agent that they really like. They try to hide them on the practice squad. Of course, there's some movement at the bottom of rosters. Sometimes guys will come up and down every week based off what the needs are. But it's essentially like an NFL version of redshirting younger players, and then giving veteran players an opportunity to get back, whether it's midseason or whatever it might be, and just keeping a much bigger pool of players handy to potentially activate on a weekly basis.
Sticking with Gator quarterbacks, Anthony Richardson is now the number 2 quarterback for the Colts. They decided to go with Daniel Jones. Did that surprise you at all?
On one hand, it didn't, because they signed Daniel Jones in the offseason for $14 million, even though it was 1 year. And then on the other hand, it did surprise me because we're still sitting here, and I know Richardson, has been so inconsistent as a player, but we're still sitting here he's a very inexperienced quarterback, and heading into year 3, compared to other quarterbacks that have struggled as top 5 picks and then not been with their team after 2 or 3 years. I think Richardson has at least had glimpses of hope. A guy like Zach Wilson with the Jets, not so much. It was almost like there was no real good stretches of play there, nothing to build upon, so the Jets moved on. The Colts at least had something there, but I just think Richardson, they soured on him in the locker room or the coaching staff with a lot of the stuff that happened last year. The injuries have been a major issue. And then on the field, there have been glimpses, there have been stretches of play, 2 to 3 weeks at a time where he has played well. But the accuracy concerns that we had coming out of college are consistent. I mean, they haven't changed. When I was at practice, it was really amazing. That particular day, I was watching them play against the Packers in joint practice. There was 5 or 6 throws that they weren't even just completable. I mean, they were perfect, right on the guy's hands, moving around the pocket. 5 or 6 beautiful passes, and then 5 or 6 that weren't even close. Wide open receivers that he was missing by a mile. And man, if he hit half of those, everything's different. And so at that point, the inconsistency, I think, was just too much for the Colts.
Another Gator quarterback that made the 53-man roster, Graham Mertz, with the Houston Texans. I'm not surprised. I feel like he's the perfect 2nd or 3rd string quarterback because he's very intelligent, has great football IQ, good teammate. Did that surprise you at all that he made the team?
No, I always thought Graham Mertz was the type of guy he's going to be lurking around the league for 8 to 10 years. He'll be around. I think the big thing for him, and you saw this at Florida a lot. I mean, he'll complete a lot of passes, high percentage of passes, nowhere to go with the ball. Has to cut down on the negative plays, the sacks, and if he can do that, he'll absolutely stick around as a backup because he'll run the offense, get the ball where it needs to go, lower his head a few times as a runner, try to make something happen, whether that's good or bad. If he could just cut down on the sack totals when he does have an opportunity to play, then I think he has a chance. But he feels like the guy that the NFL will trust and keep him in that QB3 role right now, and with an opportunity to get up to backup status in the coming years.
Andy's question for you on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Loss, is Steve, who starts more games for the Giants this year, Russell Wilson or Jackson Dart?
Man, after preseason, I'm going to say Jackson Dart. And look, Russell Wilson played well. Russ was fine. I just think the Giants' schedule is going to be really difficult. They're improved, but they could still start 2-4. And if they start 2-4, 1-5, you're going to be getting calls for Jackson Dart, and then you have Brian Daboll in year 4 and with his drafted quarterback. So I think the pressure's on there. Even if Russ plays pretty well, if they start losing games, I think we see Jackson Dart sooner than I had expected because of how well he played in the preseason.
When you look at the preseason, I mean, you watch tape nonstop. Which team surprised you the most? And you can't take a whole lot out of preseason, we all know, but who surprised you that you think may have a decent year this year?
Yeah, preseason, I usually look at it at the player level, but every now and again, you see a team that looks a little different. And that team, the Seattle Seahawks, really stood out to me with a different offense, with Clint Kubiak coming in. And I try not to weigh this too heavily, but they were running the ball effectively. You've got that Shanahan-esque wide zone scheme that just seems to fit Seattle's personnel. Their offensive line has not been good the last couple of years. They couldn't really pass protect. They didn't get any movement in the run game. But I think the scheme is fitting what Seattle wants to do. So definitely grain of salt with the preseason and what you see. But I think the Seahawks, just as a team, I was kind of high on them anyway because I think their depth on the defensive side of the ball is excellent. And I don't know exactly what they get from Sam Darnold, but I really love the way they're running that offense. And it looks like a really good fit for their skill players.
What did you think about the Jaguars? What you saw from Liam Cohen, and do they look improved to you at all?
I think it's tough to say up front. The first thing that stood out, though, was Trevor Lawrence, right? And just a very, very limited sample. Again, take it for what it's worth. I think there's points in Lawrence's career where he worked too fast, and then other times where it's too slow. And so I just thought his play speed looked good. I just thought the ability for Trevor Lawrence on a 15 dropbacks or whatever it was to get to his second and third read, it just looked efficient. It looked like it was on time. It wasn't too rushed. He had room in the pocket, but when he had to maneuver, he had answers. And I thought that was encouraging. He had answers with his second, third, fourth read, and we saw that a couple times. Brenton Strange had a couple of those late in the down catches from Trevor Lawrence, and I think that really bodes well. Early on, Liam Cohen has this track record of working well with Will Levis, with Baker Mayfield. I do think the early returns with Trevor Lawrence are looking good.
The Miami Dolphins, obviously, this is a big year for them. I did see where I think it was Jason Marshall Jr., former Gator, who I thought was a pretty good player here. He made the roster. They're saying he's going to be their nickel guy. But can Tua and the Dolphins get it done this year?
I've got some concerns about the way their roster's been constructed. If you go back 2 years now or 3 years, back 2022, they made this power move to go get Jalen Ramsey, to get Tyreek Hill. And so they went for it a couple years ago with the high-priced veterans, and they became a really good team, playoff caliber team, especially when Tua was healthy. But now that they don't have Ramsey and they haven't had as many draft picks the last couple of years, and I think that's hurt their depth. And so they've been up and down this preseason. They've had some joint practices where the reports were not great, whether it was in Chicago or in Detroit. I think they played a little better against Jacksonville in their joint practice. I still have concerns about their offensive line. They're young, mostly unproven, but they also, Tua, Waddle, Tyreek Hill, those guys can still take over a game and make them very competitive. So I still think at best they could win a lot of games, but they're probably not as good as the other playoff caliber teams in the AFC. But at worst, they're maybe another year away from adding more young talent to that team just because of how depleted they've been the last couple of years with so few draft picks.
Silverback Concrete builds firm foundations for generations. You stand on it, we stand by it. A few more minutes with Steve Palazzolo from Check the Mic, covers the NFL. A lot of people are high on the Buccaneers. Your thoughts on the Bucs?
Yeah, so I've thought the last couple of years, and Bucs fans have to hear this properly as I say it. I've thought the last couple of years they have been unable to compete or a step below the best teams in the NFC. And the Bucs fans, every time I say that, they're like, well, we beat the Lions and we beat the Eagles last year. I'm not saying that. It was a 10-7 team. You were not a powerhouse in the NFC the last couple of years from start to finish. However, as the Lions have questions at coordinator, as the Eagles have lost a little bit of talent off their Super Bowl team, the Bucs are rolling back with a lot of the same team. And I just love the way they've drafted the last couple of years, just getting good football players in the building, including a guy like Emeka Egbuka in the first round. All reports on him look great. Early preseason returns look great. I think the Bucs stayed as good if not a little bit better this year, while some other teams in the NFC came back down to the pack a little bit. So I think the Bucs have a better chance to compete from start to finish this season in the NFC. Wouldn't be surprised if they made a run to the NFC Championship game. And so, yeah, I am high on the Bucs. I just think their offensive weapons, you've got to deal with no Chris Godwin, no Tristan Wirfs for the first month or so. But a lot of the defense returns intact. Baker Mayfield, it's going to be, him again, putting it all together, staying consistent, taking care of the football. When he does that, I think they're right up there with the best teams in the NFC.
One of my old teams, the Chicago Bears. Obviously, I saw these clips during training camp, Caleb Williams missing these nets and people just bashing him. I saw one series of them. It was a nationally televised game. I don't know who they were playing, but he was taking his steps. Ball was out. It was accurate. Looked like he knew where to go with it. What do you think the Bears are going to do under Ben Johnson?
Yeah, that one series and that couple drives there against the Bills. There was the Bills backups against the Bears starters, but
that's right.
But it looked really efficient, absolutely. And look, the one of the biggest questions in the NFL is how do you get this natural playmaker like Caleb Williams and this excellent play caller, scheme-oriented coach in Ben Johnson? How do you get those guys to mesh? And I thought Caleb Williams was so inconsistent last year. He would have 2 good games, 2 bad games, 2 steps forward, 2 steps back. Every time you thought he might be turning a corner, it just didn't happen. And I think a lot of that was scheme-driven. So I think it's going to be on Caleb. Will he trust Ben Johnson? Because I think Ben Johnson is fantastic. They've got 2 good tight ends there. I love their pass catchers. I think Luther Burden, their second-round wide receiver, looks great, and he's their wide receiver 3 or 4 right now. So they have the pass catchers. They have this revamped offensive line. I know it's the offseason, but the Bears had an excellent offseason. Now, on the other hand, they got whooped up pretty bad against the Chiefs starters the other day, both sides of the ball. So all that optimism from a couple weeks ago, maybe they're not there yet, but I want to see what happens week 7, 8, 9. Where is Caleb Williams with this offense? So I'm going to say patience to make sure that Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson are on the same page, but they feel like the team that halfway through the season maybe peaks, turns a corner, finishes strong, and we're talking about next year's Bears really being in good position, even if they don't make it there just yet this season.
Why are the 49ers always having injury issues?
I don't know, man. There is some teams that seem to do better with that. There is so much that from a sports science perspective that teams do well. I think it's really tough to control year over year, but there are teams like the Rams, the Vikings, after taking some strength coaches from the Rams. There are some teams that seem to do a little better job with that, with a lot of the sports science. I'm not as familiar with which teams are stronger or weaker in that area. But yeah, it is rough right now. The Niners, their entire skill position groups, receivers, running backs, they're all hurt. They're all banged up. And it's crazy how much they've had to deal with.
It's unbelievable every year. Who's the worst team in the National Football League?
Probably the Saints. I think it's the Saints.
My team I grew up rooting. They're going to be the Aints again, aren't they?
It's multiple years of going for it. We always joke on Check the Mic here, talking about pushing the credit card bill further into the future, which you can do if you draft well, if you draft in volume, and if you draft well and just bring in good players. They haven't done either, right? So they have lost good players through the years, and they haven't replenished through the draft, in part because they trade a lot of picks and they take chances. They don't pick in volume, which is usually a better strategy. So I think the Saints, they have questions on the defensive line, just everywhere. Their depth is a little bit worse. I don't think they're a disaster, but questions at quarterback with one of the worst rosters in the NFL. So I'll say the Saints.
All right, last 2-part question here, get you out of here. Give me your Super Bowl picks, and then who do you think is the best quarter? I don't know how much college football you break down, but who's the best college quarterback in America, in your opinion?
This year's quarterback group is going to be so fun. Let's say Super Bowl, I'll go Bills-Lions because I just want that as a story. I want Bills-Lions. I want one of those fan bases to come away happy. I want to see Josh Allen in the Super Bowl. I want to see Dan Campbell in the Super Bowl. I want to see Dan Campbell going for a 4th and 5 on his own 20, up 10 in the Super Bowl just for the story. I think it's going to be great. So I'll say Bills-Lions with the Lions pulling it off this year. The quarterbacks, I think it's a fascinating year. I think Garrett Nussmeier plays with as much anticipation of any college quarterback I've seen in a long time. I think Lenoris Sellers is not Lamar Jackson, but Jaden Daniels-esque runner. who does have to, create some polish, needs to be better as a passer. I'm going to be in Atlanta this weekend watching him against Virginia Tech. I'll say Nussmeier, though, if he can cut down, he imploded later in the year, Texas A&M and beyond, but I just think Nussmeier plays the game completely differently than some of those other top quarterbacks. So I think between him and whatever we see from Arch Manning, I still believe Arch could live up to the hype. So I'll say between Nussmeier and Arch, but I'll report back on Sellers when I see him in person this weekend.
Do you think, if we got about a minute left, if you think the Saints have a horrible year, Arch lights it up, any chance? Oh,
Yes.
Grandpa says, you're not staying in school. We're going to play for the Saints.
Yeah, it depends on how Texas does. I mean, if they go to the finals, they go to the championship game, they win it, it'd be a great way for Arch to go out on top. I know they say he wants to come back, but I could absolutely see that storyline taking place. Arch Manning going to the Saints.
Yeah, no doubt. Steve, appreciate your time. Let everybody know how they can watch your show and follow you on Twitter.
Yeah, on YouTube, check the mic. We go live Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 9 a.m. And on Twitter, Steve Palazzolo _. But yeah, search Check the Mic, either YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast.
Appreciate your time, my friend. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, thank you.
Yep, that's Steve Palazzolo. Join us on the Tight No More hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. QC Kinetics for long-lasting relief, no surgery, drugs, or downtime. Schedule your free consultation at QC Kinetics. There was a question I wanted to get to before we get in. Well, I apologize. He only had so much time today. He's got to go do his show. Couldn't get to all the questions and comments. Kanye Ron says Pearsall should have a big season. I just feel like the whole 49er team is hurt, it seems like, every year. I don't know why. Gator Art says he's going with the Redskins and the Bills. And then MSRK on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plum, says Mertz is another Brock Purdy. That's a pretty good comparison. Pretty good comparison. And Mike wants to know, QB, what radio station could I listen to the Gators in Gulfport? Well, we're on Sirius Radio. So once, I don't know where you can find the lineup, all those SEC games are somewhere on Sirius XM Radio. I should know the channel number. I think it fluctuates week to week, but there, or you can go to the WRUF app, download it on your phone, and you can listen to Sean and myself and Tate and Jeff and everybody else on that app, no matter where you are in the world. That's going to do it for today's program. Tomorrow, Brent's going to come on Friday. I forgot who we have on tomorrow. Concussions, folks. I can't remember. But we'll be here tomorrow. Have a great day. Talk to you soon. Take care.